Welcome to Travel Stories with your hosts, Tom Kim and Trevor Mountcastle. This episode, we talk A Tale of Two Hotel Certs. Tom, it's great to be back with you. How are you?
I'm doing good. Happy to be here. Happy to talk about some hotel certificate craziness.
You know, we spend so much time working for that elite status or, keeping that elite credit card that we often lose sight of the fact that these certs have to be enjoyed. And sometimes we don't really bake that into the big trips that we plan, because we're thinking aspirational for this or that. And, in some cases, those aspirational trips, they just don't work out for these, Cat 4, Cat 7 certs, or I think the Ritz-Carlton has like an 85K cert. And so what we're left with is just making these almost forced trips. Maybe forced is a strong word, but the reality is, we get down to the wire, and it sounds to me like,
yeah, I mean, I've just been really bad at using these things. I mean, I think they're almost engineered for maximum breakage because, I'm always scrambling. I'm like, what the hell? Why did it take me a year to figure out what to do with these things, And, like you said, you're always trying to maximize, you're always looking for the aspirational, redemption. So, you kind of like, oh, I can't use it yet. This isn't the right time. I gotta wait to maximize it, yeah. And then you're like, it's expiring next week. And you're like, what the hell am I doing?
And it's funny. I will say, so Hyatt, they only give you 6 months with the Cat 7 cert.
I know.
And so I strategize when I hit 60 nights. Like, I'm actually very intentional when I hit 60 nights, but I'm not intentional on using it. And in fact, this year I ended up giving that cert to a friend who I will say, truly enjoyed it with his wife. And I couldn't be happier. I think that actually gave me more joy than if I had forced a one night stay. But we're not here to talk about my certs. We're here to talk about your certs.
Yeah, and I got two of them to talk about. I got two travel stories. So you're getting two for the price of one. Customers, listeners, what a bargain, right?
And not only that, but you've got the first city and the second city.
That's right.
When you think about it in the US. I was wondering if
you were going to make that comment about the first city and the second city, but do you want to do things backwards and talk about the second city first?
Yeah, let's go second city.
Okay. And of course, we're talking about Chi-Town, good old Chicago, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I had, as you
I got to go on it. I got to go on a tangent for a second.
Oh, you got to go on a wow. This is like tangent in the first 5 minutes. I don't think it's a record because I feel like we've done tangents even quicker, but okay, go ahead. Tangent
Have you
time.
actually seen Second City? Essentially Second City, what are they called? Because there is a Second City show that is like the Chicago version of SNL.
There was a Second City like comedy troupe or something. You're right. I don't know what they're called. But it's like the Second City comedy and then fill in the blank. I forget what they're called. But yeah, there were like lots of like famous people that have been in that comedy troupe, right?
Very much like Saturday Night Live in New York. Okay. Well, I guess neither of us knew enough about it other than its existence.
Other than a lot of famous people have been in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So take us to your cert-driven trip.
Yes.
To the second city, Chicago.
To be fair, it wasn't really a cert-driven trip. So just to set the stage, listeners, this was a November 11th stay, and it was using the aforementioned Ritz-Carlton card 85,000 point Bonvoy cert, which is actually a fairly valuable cert. I mean, I've used them at some nice places, and this was no exception. This was a pretty nice hotel. And I do like the fact that I literally used it on the absolute last day that I could use it. It was expiring on the exact date that I could not have picked a date later to have used this certificate.
I'm sure some accountant is looking at the at the certs that are going to have spoilage, and they were just looking at it, and you just snatched it out of the out of the
they were ready to write
the
it
grips
off.
of victory.
It was
Yes.
it was gonna be part of the breakage line in the accounting system, and nope. So I won't keep you any more suspense. It was a stay at the St. Regis Chicago. Who knew that there was a St. Regis in Chicago? Did you know that there was a St. Regis in Chicago?
I did not, but do you know what my next question is going to be?
What's that?
Do they saber a bottle of champagne each day?
Oh, I figured you would ask that question. I arrived there probably, I did arrive in the afternoon, but I don't think I sought out the sabering, and the layout of the hotel, there's a lobby that's kind of small. It's not very big. And then I think the hotel, restaurants or somewhere, I don't know where they would do the sabering because there wasn't an actual lobby bar. I'm sure there was upstairs, but I didn't go. So there probably is, but I didn't see it. And there was probably a butler too, but I don't recall actually using the butler service at all either. So
it doesn't really sound like you're having a St. Regis experience at this hotel already.
That's true. This is a pretty, I would say, as St. Regis's go, and we were just talking about this not too long ago, right? And not on our podcast, but on somebody else's podcast about, how St. Regis has all these traditions, right? Like the champagne sabering and like having the bar, the King Cole bar where they, invented the Bloody Mary, and they have butler service, and they have Astor suites, and, they have all kinds of references to the, of course, the namesake St. Regis in New York City. But this one is a little more nondescript, and it's actually the lower floors of this very, very tall building in Chicago. So that's also a little disappointing. If you're looking for like a 50th floor room, I'm going to say computer says no.
That's interesting. Usually these top tier hotels are, I suppose, upper tier. I suppose top tier would be like Four Seasons or Oman, but usually those upper tier hotels, they usually want to be in the in that upper reaches of the atmosphere. I
feel like in Asia that you're more likely to see that, and yet I'm looking at you, Hyatt Regency, TST, where I think, but you're right. More of the Park Hyatts are the top floors rather than the lower floors.
Oh yeah, the Ritz in Hong Kong, the Park Hyatt in Tokyo.
Yep.
I think the Park Hyatt in Shanghai.
Yep, the Conrad that we stayed at in Osaka. They're all like they all have sky lobbies, right?
Yeah.
Not this one. I think the difference is like some of these developments, especially in the U.S., you see a lot of them being driven by real estate developers, right? So the St. Regis is really just part of a much larger, condo complex, right? Where they're
with the penthouses where the penthouses belong to be. Yeah. Yep. I mean, I can see that.
Yeah.
But it's still very interesting that it's very, very much the opposite as we're used to in Asia.
I'm not actually sure, how it compares. I've actually never stayed at the Park Hyatt in Chicago, so I'm not sure how this quite stacks up to some of the other premium hotels in good old Chi-Town. But I will say the one good thing it had going, and the room was beautiful, and I'll definitely put some photos up here just to give people some what do you call it? Photos of, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, will be able to see what the configuration of the room is and what it looks like. I will say one benefit is they do have room service breakfast, and it's included. So as a platinum member, or I'm assuming a titanium, I'm sure you're entitled to some breakfast at a St. Regis, and maybe not a Ritz-Carlton, but at a St. Regis you are. And they offer you the option to order room service, which I took that option.
That's interesting. Usually the places like the St. Regis or the Park Hyatt are the places where you want to be downstairs in the restaurant because they've just got such a great menu.
And you know what? I think the restaurant there is well regarded, and I think the in-person option is probably superior. But you know what? This was a cold morning in Chicago. I was by myself solo, so I was just like, you know what? I kind of like the idea of just having a croissant and some other eggs in my room, which is what I did.
Nothing wrong with that.
And as I'm eating this room service breakfast, guess who contacts me? Friend of the show. If you're reading the notes, Yeah, you don't have to guess, Trevor.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was not the surprise I was expecting. But yeah. So Han, not quite from Chicago, huh?
Was in Chicago.
Was in Chicago.
This was so going back to kind of setting the table of like what this trip was this was like I think the second day after the Chicago seminars, and although Han had been to the previous year's Chicago seminar, he did not make an appearance at the 2025 version, and he just happened to be in town doing his business because he's Mr. Chicago, so
yes.
Doctor's appointment, other stuff, so he messages me and he's like, "Hey, are you still in Chicago?" And I'm like, "Yeah, for a few more hours." And he's like, "Oh, let's meet up." So, of course, he shows up at the St. Regis, like out of the blue, as one does.
As Mr. Chicago would.
As Mr. Chicago does, yes.
So where'd you go?
Well, we went to my room. We ended up using the Nespresso machine. So he was able to get coffee. And I will tell you, he is clearly a Chicago native because when I saw him, when I met him in the lobby, I was like, yeah, he knows how to dress, because this was November in Chicago. It had just snowed for the first time. So first snow of the year. And I was woefully underdressed, I will tell you. I had 3 layers on. I had a shirt, I had an undershirt, I had a sweater, I had a jacket, I had I don't know how, I think I intentionally brought many, many, many layers, my friend. I had a hat, not the right kind of hat, but
still not enough, huh?
No, I was freezing. And, Han comes in, he's got his gigantic like North Face, going to the Antarctic jacket. He's got, the big hat and, the beanie, to protect his head. And I'm just like, wow, he looks super warm. I'm jealous.
Well, you could have gone around the corner to Lululemon and gotten yourself a new jacket with your American Express
I think I'd
card, right?
I may have already spent it at that point, but who knows?
I hear they have beanies and jackets.
I bought a beanie from Lululemon actually, but didn't have it on that occasion. So unfortunately, I had the wrong kind of hat. So I was walking around the day before, getting dinner and going to Whole Foods and getting some snacks and just walking around. Not very far. Like at most, I think it was like 4 or 5 blocks away. Because I was freezing my ass off, so I was not inclined to go anywhere further than about that. The next morning was also quite cold, and as it turns out, after hanging out in the St. Regis for a little bit, time had kind of come to where I need to go to my next stop, and actually checked out, and we started going to the Lowe's hotel.
Ah.
And the reason why I went to the Lowe's hotel, which you can kind of almost see across the river from the St. Regis, and the St. Regis, by the way, is very close to a lot of other great hotels, like the Swiss Hotel, the Hyatt Regency's like a little bit further down. It's across the street from the big Sheraton that's there on the Chicago River. But our good friends Jamie, Lorenz, and Dylan were at the Lowe's hotel, and I had already arranged for them to kind of share an Uber to O'Hare, because we were all on the exact same United flight, or American flight. Sorry, American flight.
It cracks me up. I ran into him in Sydney and then in Melbourne, like a month later.
And how many times did you run into him in the city where you both live?
I saw him at an FTU once, but yes. I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Like I never run into him, at the home. I mean, he's kind of like how you and I used to run into each other.
Well, I actually didn't book my flight home from Chicago until I think a day before at Chicago seminars, when I was like, "Hey, Jamie, which flight are you on?" And I'm like, "Okay, let me book that." Boom. And then, can I share an Uber? Yes, let's do it. Okay. So anyway, we have to go to the Lowe's, and it's across the river. And of course, in order to cross the river, you have to cross the bridge. And that bridge, you have to go from Upper Wacker to Lower Wacker. I think you're going to have a comment here, right?
What's a Wacker?
It sounds a little. It sounds like could be a little steamy, right? That's a drive, Trevor. That's a road.
Oh,
There's a multi-level road in that area, and of course there are these stairs that take you down from the upper level to the lower level where the bridge was. And this being early morning, I forget if it was I think it's like a Tuesday morning or something. At this point, whoever's job it is to unlock the door that is at the end of the stairways, they weren't doing their job that morning. There was some fresh snow on the ground, and I guess maybe they didn't want to climb out of bed or something.
So here you are trying to go between Lower Wacker and Upper Wacker, and you were just snookered out of the shortcut.
And there's kind of this, not full height door, but there's like this kind of door that is tall enough that this 5'6" Korean can't jump over it. So there is those. So I infamously did something. Well, maybe not infamously. I shared with you a photo, I think, around when I did this, and you were like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
Do you recall this photo?
I remember a footprint or a shoe print.
Yes.
And I don't think I would have ever done that to my suitcase.
Well, I don't have, number one, I didn't have a lot of choice because here we are at the bottom of the stairwell, and there was only one way. You gotta climb over this fence basically to get out to the street. So I had in my hand one item, my trusty Briggs and Riley luggage. By the way, tangent started.
Gosh, so you have to climb on your Briggs and Riley.
Yes.
Were you able to open the door and then recover? I'm trying to remember.
I wasn't able to open the door. I climbed over the door by stepping on my Briggs and Riley suitcase and climbing over to give myself enough, height to get over this impediment. And of course, I was willing to do that because, guess what? My Briggs and Riley has an unconditional guarantee. Even if you're, stupid and have a 250-pound Korean, step on top of it.
So you've stepped on your Briggs and Riley bag. You've climbed over this door.
Yes.
How do you get your bag back?
Well, I just lifted it over, that I could do, but,
you had to, but I guess the problem I'm running into is you've had to step on your bag to be able to get over.
Yes.
And you just reach back and pull it over?
I can kind of pull it over, I can lift it out. So, like I said, it wasn't that tall, but it's tall enough. And tall enough that and Han Chicago's not that much. He's probably similar height as me, so I think we both had some difficulties there. So, but it's a good time to just mention. I didn't have too many qualms because once again, we're Team Briggs and Riley here because of that super unconditional guarantee. And my little tangent is, guess what? I had to actually use that thing and literally today I picked up my Briggs and Riley suitcase from the luggage store.
Wow. So we recorded two podcasts. One, the podcast with Joey on the Travel Bros, I think was the day that you dropped yours off, and now today is the closure of that. Did they comment on the shoe print? I
think the shoe print has since dissipated. Cause that was back in November, and I've actually been on like multiple trips with that suitcase. And I will say maybe the shoe print had something to do with the fact that the wheels were obliterated on my most recent trip. I noticed, I think in Barcelona airport as I was, dragging my suitcase along, I was like, wow, this thing's vibrating a lot. Like, what's the deal? And I looked
little
down
pieces are falling off as you wander through the
rubber is no longer attached, let's just say. And I'm like, this needs to be fixed. And despite that, it was still, the suitcase was still usable. Like it's not like I couldn't use it. It was just, one of the wheels had disintegrated and clearly needed to be replaced. But it was still, you could still make do, which is what I did. I mean, so it made it all the way to the Maldives and back to the U.S. And of course, as soon as I got back, I looked up the authorized service centers and I dropped it off, and they really did take care of it with very little what do you call it, hassle. I went into the store. I showed them what was wrong, and they took it, and they took down my info, and they said, okay, we'll let you know when it's ready.
You can't beat that frictionless process.
Frictionless. And, again, they don't care that it was wear and tear, or that it was the airline that broke your wheel, or, that the zipper broke because of, something stupid you did, or that you, or that you stepped on it. But, they will take care of it. It's unconditional guarantee. It's the best in the industry. That's why I love it. And actually, I feel like my bag is now almost better than new.
Yeah. I bet you it slides nice and easy.
Oh my God. Like, I remember when it was new, the wheels weren't this slick because they replaced all the wheels.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they
upgraded probably them. Greased it up nicely.
These are the newer wheels really for, I think, the newer bags. And it is an improvement. And they also replaced the zipper that had fallen off, and they replaced the handles. They went ahead and replaced the handles. It's like 50% new bag.
Yeah, I mean, you've got like a cyborg now. You've got a cyborg Briggs and Riley. It's upgraded. I mean, it might as well be RoboCop.
So anyway, I'll definitely put show a picture of the disintegrated wheel, and then I will show a before and after. For our listeners, again, those are some little treats for you who are watching us on YouTube.
Well, you can't beat that. So take us to your other city, right? We said this was a tale of two hotel certs.
So we went to the second city. Now let's go to the first city, right?
Oh, yes, a city after my own heart.
Yes. So as you mentioned before, I do have these of category 1 through 7 certs that you earn when you hit Globalist, and lo and behold, the one that I had was burning a hole in my pocket, and it was about to expire right at the end of the month. So I didn't really have much time left. And of course, I'm going on a cruise literally tomorrow. So I wasn't going to be around the rest of the month. So I need to find something to do with this thing. So this past weekend, I was like, okay, enough's enough. The window is closing. The window is almost closed. I have to figure out where to go. And I figured if I'm going to go somewhere, let me go. It's either going to be one of two things. It's going to be maybe like a Park Hyatt that I haven't been to, or let me find an interesting brand explorer hotel that I haven't been to. So that was kind of my two goals.
And I thought this was especially funny because you started out so in our group chat with Joey, you shared like 3 or 4 cities.
Yes,
and every one of those cities had a World Cup game, and both of us looked at that and we're like, "What on earth are you thinking, man?"
Yeah, let me go to every place that has way too many people in it.
Yeah, like, are you even going to find the availability for some of these cities? At some of these hotels.
I was surprised. I actually, I think when I first looked, I think the hotel that I ended up staying at, I think was not available. I thought maybe it was not available using the cert, but it could have just also been my mistake because, it's interesting. I find that it's easier to book the cert through the app than it is through the website, or at least it's more clear because there's like a little slider bar that lets you, pick your cert that you're going to use.
Yeah. I recall that.
Yeah. And I originally thought maybe Houston, right? Because there's a bunkhouse hotel there that is a category, I think 6. And I have no idea what a bunkhouse hotel is, by the way. So, but it was in Houston, but I looked at the airfare options and they were horrendous. There wasn't anything good. So I decided to pivot because my air options, I think my other option might have been Toronto, which actually did have reasonable award tickets, but that would have been a Park Hyatt and was not a brand explorer. It's not my favorite city in Canada, as I like to say, apparently.
Yeah, not your favorite city in Canada. Get that, but even just flying through Toronto, I mean, you can find cheaper airfares through there, but you got to fly through that pre-clearance, and it just is not for me.
I was going to fly to Billy Bishop.
Oh, do they have pre-clearance or would you have to?
They might have, but I think I would, whatever, regardless of what the situation was, I was kind of excited by the possibility of flying Porter, but of course I didn't do it. I guess that'll be saved for some other time. What I did instead was I didn't even fly. I didn't even take the train.
Wow.
I took one of your favorite forms of transportation. Not
It
really.
is definitely not my favorite form of transportation. I don't think I've taken one of those things. I mean, at least it wasn't the Greyhound. This
No.
sounds like a brand new type of thing, and it actually sounds like an exciting thing. Other than the fact that it takes forever, it
Yes.
seems like
It did take forever. I'm of course talking about the bus,
but it wasn't Bolt Bus, right? So at least it wasn't like the like the Chinatown bus where you kind of get on the.
It's not that dissimilar than the Chinatown bus, but I will say this is interesting because the market between DC and New York is flooded with a lot of different bus operators. So I took one that I had actually never heard of. I was kind of looking at a couple of ones because and the thing is, quite a few of these bus operators have kind of premium buses that have a slightly more comfortable layout. One would say a bus Lopa.
Bus Lopa. There we go. And so I remember asking you about this, and I found it interesting. You were saying that this is a 1-2 configuration. So, I mean, it effectively feels like first class on a regional jet. Or am I giving it too much credit?
I think it's not too far off, and I don't actually space-wise. It's not too bad. I definitely felt like pretty comfortable. Mind you, this was a lot longer than a regional flight, so my butt did end up hurting a little bit being seated for such an extended period of time. But
yeah, that drive's got to be close to like flying to Chicago. Not Chicago, Denver.
Further,
about 4 hours, right? 4 or 5.
Yeah, I mean, well. I'll start off and just say the trip there was significantly longer than the trip back. So
there's a story here.
Yeah, just a little bit of one. So the route that I took, this bus goes from Springfield here in Virginia, not the Simpsons' hometown, but the one that has a metro station here in the suburbs of Virginia. And then it goes to DuPont Circle in the district, and then it stops at Union Station, and then finds its way to 34th and 8th. So it's pretty close to Penn Station in Midtown. But I did have a little bit of strategy for this. I decided intentionally to purchase the Springfield location, which is the longest one. It's the one that's earliest, right? So it picks it up at like 7:15 in the morning, and I think the DuPont stop is like at 8, and then the Union Station stop is like at 8:20, 8:30, something like that. So I intentionally, because I ended up taking this company called Best Bus, and they have their Prime Bus, which is this more luxurious, more comfortable 1-2 seating configuration bus. But what they don't do is seat assignments. So it is first come, first serve. So I intentionally thought, well, let me hit the stop that is the first, because then I'm guaranteed a solo seat, which I found initially I was like, why did I do this? Because there was like 3 people on the bus.
The entire time? Or
No. And even in DuPont Circle, the next stop, there were still plenty of like solo seats left. But when we got to Union Station, it filled up completely. There were no empty seats. So
the strategy is DuPont.
I think the strategy might be DuPont, although that you're still taking that's marginal risk, but yes, that might be the better thing. At least you won't have the worst seat, because it's the people at Union Station and the people who dilly-dally at Union Station are going to be the ones that have the last choice.
And did you get off Union Station on the way back?
I did. That's actually what I did, because I didn't want to wait the extra hour to get to Springfield. So I was like, I got picked up by, fortunately, my parents did pick me up. So I got family members to pick me up. But they picked me up from Union Station. And that ended up shaving some time off the trip, because I didn't have to wait for the additional 2 stops.
Oh, that makes a big difference.
Yes. But the way out there was excruciating. I think the quantity of people entering Manhattan, number one, it was a warm weekend. I mean, the weather was in the upper 80s, so it was definitely hot. But between all the sporting events and all the celebrations and the World Cup, there was just an inordinate number of people trying to get into the Lincoln Tunnel. I mean, I think that last 5 miles of our trip was like an hour and a half. And I think the bus ended up arriving like a full 2 hours late. So,
man,
that is some of the negative parts of obviously bus travel, is Mind you, Amtrak could probably be 2 hours late, and that wouldn't be all that unusual. Or maybe your trip to LaGuardia could have some issues. Who knows? But
and you could have gotten off early and taken New York Waterway across above the above sea level.
I don't think they were stopping anywhere to let people off. So
yeah, fair. Sometimes they stop at like Jersey City or something. Yeah. I would imagine, but who knows?
Yeah. But that being said, within like a minute of stopping, I'm off the bus. I'm like sprinting over to the subway. I'm on the subway and have paid my $3 fare on my credit card. Just by tapping it on the turnstile, and I'm on my way to lunch.
So you weren't stepping over your Briggs and Riley to jump over the turnstiles in the New York subway.
No plan on fare, and no Briggs and Riley, because remember, it was at the store being fixed.
Oh yes. You didn't have your rolling step stool.
No, just my book bag. And I got to tell you, after lugging my book bag across all of New York back and forth, my back hurts. I'm not used to carrying that much weight on my back, and I feel like I feel some chiropractic need or something in my future or something.
So I did that on a recent overnight trip too. And I was thinking about how you and I did that on a longer trip down to Rio, and I can't remember what episode. We'll see if we can add that. We did book bags only on that
on the Rio trip.
What? Oh yeah, thinking? Yeah. And somehow we survived. Like we're only like a year and a half, 2 years later, and we're like, oh, we can't do that anymore.
I guess your back ages faster than other parts of you. Who knows?
So you've got your lunch, right?
I'm going to lunch, and I've actually made a reservation for lunch, and I had factored in some delay. By the way, I figured, I'm gonna book this reservation an hour after, the bus is supposed to arrive. Little did I know the bus arrived 2 hours late, so I'm almost about to miss the lunch window at this restaurant, because the restaurant only opens, I think, for lunch until about 3 p.m. and then I think the menu changes. So I'm sprinting toward the restaurant, but it's actually a pretty convenient. It's 2 stops on the C or E line, and another 2 or 3 blocks of walking, and I'm there. And I didn't know what to expect. I don't think I've been to this steakhouse before. It's called Gallagher's, if you guys have not heard of it. And I will tell you, I didn't know what to expect because, I hadn't been there, and I didn't really see any pictures of the interior or anything like that. But I walk in, and number one, I said, "Oh, I'm super late." And then, of course, the person says, "Yes, no problem. We'll seat you. No worries." So I'm seated, table for one, and I'm seated in this classic New York steakhouse, decorated impeccably, beautiful. You can see kind of the showcase kitchen. You see all these people, servers in white coats, white linen tables, bread service, all the accoutrements. And I'm thinking to myself, I made a great decision. I hadn't even looked at the menu yet or, did anything. And I was like, I made a good decision. And, of course, the other claim to fame for this place is, and it's a big one, is they do 7 days a week lunch special. And believe me, that actually is a little bit more unique than you think, because I was looking at all kinds of restaurants for my next lunch, trying to figure, there must be another restaurant that does a lunch special on a Sunday. I can't find anything. I
all
struck
brunch,
out.
I'm sure.
My biggest regret right now is, number one, I would seriously contemplating going back again for lunch the next day. And I was half going to do that. And I think if I had done that, I would have been much happier, because I'll talk about it in a moment. I picked another place.
I'm guilty of that. If I find that I like a place, I'll go back. Even if it's a brand new city.
I call that doing a Trevor,
I'll go back.
I call that doing a Trevor is going back to the same place. In the same
I'm so
thing.
guilty.
You are so guilty. Like, you are notorious. Like, I mean, we've been on trips where you did, like, once you latch onto it, like, hey, TK, you know that place yesterday? Let's go again. I'm like, anyway, Gallagher's, I cannot recommend enough. Again, I ended up having, they do a $34 3-course lunch. Normally they
That's good
serve
value.
you, I think, It is. It is excellent value. I did upcharge it, so I got a full 8-ounce fillet. So it cost a little bit more, but it also had some better sides. Like I wanted the cream spinach, and they had cream spinach with the fillet, and they didn't have it with the normal sliced fillet. So I haven't tried the actual lunch special. I've tried the upgraded lunch special.
How much more was that?
I think it was $22 extra. So
it's not so bad.
It's not too bad. It's not too bad. But I want to go back and try the normal lunch special, see what that's all about. Which I think would have been the same starter and same dessert. So I ended up having a wedge salad with some Roquefort. Excellent salad. Excellent wedge. A classic wedge salad. And of course some New York cheesecake at the end, which again seems pretty appropriate for being in, the first city.
Oh, yes.
So can't recommend it enough. It's in Midtown, 52nd Street, I think. It's in kind of theater district. Excellent steakhouse, great ambience, the best service. In fact, I'm so spoiled because the rest of the trip, I'm almost angry. I know. I'm just, because the people are either not coming to me to take my order, or they're taking forever to get the check, or the ambiance is just horrible, so it's everything. I was spoiled by lunch, and it kind of ruined my trip a little bit because every restaurant after that was a disappointment.
And you're a foodie, so you're expecting, you generally have high expectations.
I have high expectations. I have certain standards. Yeah.
So you've gotten Gallagher's.
Yes.
Do you make it to the hotel by that afterwards?
Yes. So that I think I've set it up so that I don't even have to worry about asking for an early check-in. I assume they would have given it to me as a globalist, but I didn't have to worry about it because I literally just arrived just after check-in time, and I make my way to my hotel, which listeners is the Standard Highline. Have you heard about the Standard before, Trevor?
I have. I had almost stayed at one in Melbourne, Australia. Oh. However, it had not very good reviews, which I thought was surprising because I thought the Standard had reasonably high standards, and the Highline is such a beautiful area within New York. So, I'm excited. What were your thoughts?
I walked in and it very much felt like I was in a W hotel. And I forget who the developers of the Standard brand are, but I almost feel like, and I could be wrong because, this memory here is a little tricky these days, but, it may very well be that some of the developer or the founders of that, the W, line of hotels, maybe some of them have some lineage with the Standard. And, I've actually seen this hotel many times because, it is right there at the Highline. And again, I don't know if all our listeners know what the Highline even is, but the Highline is a very kind of revolutionary park in New York City because it was actually a elevated rail line, because at the time, this part of New York City had a lot of factories, and there were trains that would actually use this elevated rail line to kind of move goods and other things, between these different factories and out to the actual rail yards where they'd be, sent off to be shipped to various customers. But this elevated rail line was disused for decades, and it was just kind of a blight. And at some point, somebody decided very, intelligently, this would be a great thing to turn into kind of an urban park. And what a weird kind of park because, it's elevated, it's linear. It's like a linear park. But at the same time, such an amazing place to stroll in New York City. Such a great place to visit. And I visited before, and of course, the Highline has been there for a number of years, or the Standard Highline has been there for a number of years. And of course, the notorious thing that it's known for is, I think the hotel is known for having these, floor-to-ceiling windows, which unfortunately are a little bit too visible from the Highline. And I think at some point they had to make some notifications to the guests, please refrain from having sex, during, with your blinds open. So,
that would align it to the W brand, wouldn't it?
It probably does. So, so that's why it was kind of unique. And of course, it was Brand Explorer that, for my Hyatt Brand Explorer, I have another check for my bingo card. And so yeah, it kind of met the right criteria. It had room availability, category 6 though.
So you're just shy of maximizing. You couldn't quite maximize, huh?
But in New York City, there's really only one category 7, and it is not a place I want to stay.
Is that the Grand Hyatt, or is it one of the Andazes?
I think it's the Guild Hall, which I think is a Thompson. Of course, we already have that brand.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's not rehash the Thompson conversation. Listen to the Travel Bros conversation.
I'm happy with my choice, and even if I didn't maximize,
that's
this
good.
Category 6 was a great. I think the cash price for the hotel night was north of $600. So,
and the Highline's a great place to be.
Highline's a great place to be. Great neighborhood. The rooms are somewhat small, and I got a deluxe queen. That's what I booked. I don't think they provided much of an upgrade, if anything, but I was happy with the room. I mean, I was there solo, so not the most spacious room, but layout was great, because it had, like a bench seat with a big table. It had a very comfortable queen bed, a little softer than I like, but, I slept like a baby. And part of it was the room was like literally the Arctic. It was frigid. I mean,
an icebox.
It had like the best AC, I think, in New York City. I ended up, first of all, I love a cold room. I had to adjust the AC up. Of course, I don't think it actually adjusted up. I think later I looked at it. I think it was kind of like somehow like, what is it, fixed to like 64 degrees. And, mind you, it resulted in an amazing night of sleep, because I was just like super, super like cuddling up under the duvet, and just like, I had a great night of sleep, but it was golden.
Sometimes that's nice. It gives you a reason to stay in bed a little longer.
Another interesting feature was I don't think I've ever seen a minibar with so many items in it.
Now, was that like the Andaz used to be, where the stocked minibar was gratis?
No.
Or no?
No, this was not gratis.
They were just trying to tempt you.
They were trying to tempt me, and apparently they were looking for a wide net to tempt people. I will throw up a photo, and the number of different items was just, I didn't even look at the menu, but like the menu must be like a couple of pages long just to catalog. And that was just, the photo I'm going to put up there is just the non-refrigerated items. Like, of course, there was another refrigerator with even more items in it, but that one was just like kind of a normally stocked minibar. It was all the other items. I was like, wow, this is a lot of items.
Wow. Okay, so you've got your deluxe queen. You've got your belly full. Did you go out for a dinner, or was that kind of okay? Tell us about the dinner.
So the next two restaurants I did were both French. They were both in the West Village. The one I had for dinner, and then I did have breakfast at the hotel, and then I had lunch at another French restaurant in the West Village. I do like the West Village. It's a kind of vibrant neighborhood. A lot of young people. I was feeling a little old, quite honestly. And the other thing that was interesting is walking around the West Village, the night of Game 5 of the Knicks, versus San Antonio.
I don't think I'd want to be there for that. I don't think I'd want to be anywhere near that.
I will say I've never seen so many people urinating in the street, but
we might have to put like a mature audience for this, for this episode. My gosh.
I mean, for the most part, number one, I didn't stay out super late. So I think I left before the game had concluded. But there were crazy watch parties. There were like, people in the streets, like there were, not a lot of space even to walk around them. Somebody had like, a projector displaying like the next game, on the side of a building. And of course there was a huge crowd that gathered outside, all celebrating, all drinking.
Okay. That's kind of cool. I mean, there's a little community there, right? I could get behind that.
No, I appreciate it. See, I know you put a kind of a little bit of a negative connotation on it, but I think it was not, I don't know if it was quite family, but it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. The thing that was kind of bad was I went to the French restaurant, and the ambiance in there was horrible. I felt like I was in like a TGI Fridays that had club music playing, and they had the game in the back. I'm like,
Sacre bleu.
Like, what kind of French bistro is this? Like, it's like a TGI Fridays sports bar that serves French
Croque
food.
monsieur, a little steak frites.
Yeah. And, I think I made some faux pas on ordering too, because I ordered the French onion soup, which was like, it was, by the way, this restaurant's called Le Petit Village. It was an in-kind restaurant. That's probably my undoing, because I was like, oh, it's French. It's an in-kind restaurant, has good reviews. I'm like, okay, let me try this.
Oh, yeah. You're going with some knocks against you for a culinary experience.
I know Now I did order the branzino, which is like this whole fish. It was delicious, actually. I enjoyed the fish. And again, maybe I'm still on my dolphin kick from the Maldives, but I have been eating a lot of seafood lately. So that was excellent, but again, and it took forever for them to take my order. Like I'm like looking around, I'm like, where's this waiter? Finally,
so they really were embodying the French.
Yeah, they really were. I mean, I did finally have to get the manager. I'm like, hey, I've been sitting here a while. Where's my effing waiter? So
tell us how you really feel. Wow. These are some strong feelings today.
I've been really angry lately. I don't know what it is with service people. My patience with service people has been super low lately. I tell you, it was not only this restaurant. I've been making snide comments all over the place, which is kind of atypical for me. I don't know what it is. Maybe.
Well, let me tell you, avoid Australia until you calm down, because the service culture in Australia is nothing that's going to make you any happier.
Yes.
I'm just warning you.
Yeah. So
okay,
anyway,
so we had the French.
We had the
restaurant.
French dinner. Good branzino. Don't recommend anything else. And the ambiance in there is horrible. But again, it's West Village. It's super popular. It's like super busy. By the way, my reservation was like 9 p.m. Like this was a 9 p.m. reservation, because that's what they had available.
The city never sleeps.
I know. But the next, we redeem ourselves. New York redeemed itself a little bit, because I had breakfast at the Standard Grill, which is the hotel restaurant of the Highline Standard. And again, I didn't have I had read some reviews and the Standard Grill's pretty good. And I'm like, do I believe this review? So I go to the restaurant and I'm like, oh, actually, this place, the ambiance was amazing. Like, it was a beautiful looking restaurant. The seating was great. I ordered my breakfast. But by the way, again, it took forever for the server to take my order. But this time the host noticed that I was sitting there a while, and the host was like, and she went to go get something. Like, hey, this guy's been waiting a long time. Hurry up and take his order. Essentially. So they redeemed themselves a little, because the host, kind of redeemed themselves a little bit, and of course after that was fine. So I ordered breakfast. I ordered a full English. Do you know what a full English is, Trevor?
Yeah, you get the eggs, the sausage, the bacon, oatmeal. No. I know you like a full English. Beans.
I do like a full English. So it's a standard breakfast. It's usually, I think the traditional, you're right. It's eggs. It's, British bacon. So it's like the rashes of bacon. So it's slightly different.
Yeah.
It's, some bangers. So some sausage, some beans, blood sausage.
I was thinking the blood sausage might have been a part of it. Yeah. And you have a thing for that blood sausage.
I like me some good blood sausage. So anyway, I ordered the Standard Grill version, which was excellent. I thought it was good American rendition of it. I'll throw up a photo. The bacon wasn't quite right for actual full English, but again, it can be forgiven. We're in the U.S.
Yeah.
The toast was like standard, it's like sourdough toast, not fry bread, but again, we're in the U.S. We'll make some dispensations. But yeah, I think the food was really good. It was Globalist breakfast was completely. My bill was $0. They wiped it all out. I think the actual cost was like $55 or something.
And frictionless.
For one person's breakfast, by the way,
Well, that's actually pretty low in New York. I mean,
it's probably pretty low there.
The way they inflate that is just astonishing. But I mean, to have a frictionless breakfast experience,
it was a frictionless.
So many times we're in those restaurants, those higher end restaurants.
Yes.
At those higher end hotels, and you've got to fight about this or that, and it's just like, why? Like,
I had outdoor seating. It was hot, but there was a nice breeze. I was in the shade, so it was actually very comfortable. I was sitting there for like more than an hour probably, and I was perfectly fine. Had a beautiful view of the built headquarters.
Oh, yes. That's.
By the way, the cafe has a sign that says it's coming soon. It is not open.
Oh, it's not there yet. Oh, because they just moved
so.
their headquarters to the meatpacking industry. Meatpacking district,
which is where the Highline is.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting though that you got to go
literally
there.
Across the street from the standard Highline.
Yeah, but you were there on a weekend, so you couldn't like swing by and see the gang.
Yep. So anyway, I had my breakfast there. I did go after that. I just hung out a little bit. I edited a podcast a little bit in the hotel.
Always working.
And then
always working for our listeners, I should say.
Yes. I did make my way to another French restaurant. I was like, okay, let me try another one that like maybe one I'd heard of, right?
Doubling down, huh?
Yeah. Sometimes when you double down, you lose.
This culinary experience that you thought you were going to have.
Well, so again, this is Miledynamic. So, come on, I'm sometimes chasing deals. So I look at this restaurant, I look at the lunch menu, and it doesn't say Monday through Friday. It just says lunch menu, and it says, we've got this, a beef bourguignon, that is a lunch special for $22. I'm like, oh, that sounds great. I'm going to get some beef bourguignon, so I go to this restaurant, and of course I'm presented with the menu. Of course, it's the brunch menu, not the lunch menu.
Oh, jeez.
So there's no lunch special to be had. So of course I'm there. All right, I'm just order the beef bourguignon anyway, because that's actually what I wanted to eat. I wanted to try the beef bourguignon. So and it was okay, but once again, ambiance was horrible because it was so crowded, so busy, loud, and actually they took my order pretty quick. But it took forever for them to bring out the check. Jesus Christ. I don't know why I'm having such service problems. And the only thing I can think of is, it is busy and, it is the weekend and it's New York. And maybe unless you're in a really good place, they're just, good services is hard to come by.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
But somebody I know asked me to bring them home a dozen bagels. So, of course, right after lunch, I had another mission.
And I do appreciate that. Although I have to say, I think I question your food choice. I mean, leading up to this, had I known your experiences in your food selections, I might have done more research and directed you in a different direction.
Well, I did go to a famous bagel place, and this place had a line out the door. So I went to a place called Apollo Bagels. It is a little bit more bougie, and they only have 3 kinds of bagels, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, and the bagels they smell like New York bagels, but they're definitely.
This thing was like wafting smell all the way like down the New Jersey Turnpike. But anyway,
like they had the smell, but I was very surprised. The consistency was just very different.
Very different
than the normal
bagel.
Yeah, this was more artisanal.
It was a much more bougie bagel called Apollo Bagels. They got a couple locations. It was when I looked at the map that the hotel, the standard hotel gives you in your like little key card folio.
Oh, there you go.
Shows the neighborhood.
That'll tell you.
This was one of the dots in the neighborhood. So I feel like it is probably a point of interest. I haven't really read up about it. I had no idea about it. I just walked by it. I saw that there was a line out the door, and I was like, "Oh, I need to buy bagels." I'm like, "Okay, let me go here."
And they were good, but not the same.
Maybe not what you wanted. I didn't of course I didn't know. I sampled any of these until I was back at home.
Well, you got the line out the door. You're just trying to survive at that point, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But we do appreciate you bringing them back. That little bit of New York, it just it just warms the heart.
And I
fills the belly.
The half a bagel that I did have, it was a very unique bagel. So I'd say it's definitely something I might try again at some point. But maybe not exactly what Trevor was asking for, because I think he wants his traditional. He likes his traditional bagels.
Yeah, the low class, good New Yorker, good New York bagels. You give me a nice egg New York bagel, and I am just Johnny on the spot.
Like Liberty Bagel or like New York Bagel or whatever the other ones were on 34th Street when I was walking by them on the way to the bus stop.
Yeah. But still really appreciate you bringing them. It was good to be able to try something different. And again, that smell of the bagels just brings you back. It just really brings you back.
Yeah. But all in all, I mean, it was a successful, I mean, again, like totally impromptu. I think I was talking to you like on like Thursday or something, maybe,
Yeah.
planning this thing. And, it just came together. And, the cost of the bus, I mean, is like, I think it was like $60 one way, maybe 55 the other or something. So it's pretty reasonable. I mean, it was a lot cheaper than what Amtrak was charging last minute. I mean, if you want Amtrak, by the way, you got to book in a little bit in advance. And I don't know that the airline options were much more favorable. So given the, kind of, last minute, nature of this trip, I think, I enjoyed it. I at least had one excellent lunch. And, despite all the service problems, at the French restaurants, I mean, the beef bourguignon was tasty and the branzino was tasty. And
you got a story out of it.
I got a story out of it.
You got multiple stories.
Again, I don't know why I'm so angry at service people lately. Maybe I must be getting must be some sort of like age rage onset, dementia or something. I don't know.
Well, we'll work on that in your next therapy session.
Okay,
how's that?
We'll do, Chief.
I was tempted to try to tag along, but we had some things that we were originally going to do here.
We're gonna plan our trip a little better. I intentionally did not. One of the places I've always wanted to go in New York City is I've always wanted to go to a steakhouse called Delmonico's.
Yes.
And it is actually the birthplace of the Delmonico steak, its namesake. It is the birthplace of baked Alaska.
Well, I didn't know that part.
Yes, and it has been I think in that location for I don't know how long, but it might not be quite as storied as, let's say, Peter Luger's, but it's way up there. And that might be a place where we're going to go. Now, mind you, I don't think they have a lunch special, so I'm going to have to dig deep into my credit card for
have to budget for that.
Yeah, budget for that one. But
I mean, there's just so many good ones. There's you get the Bull and Bear. You got a good handful of them.
I feel there's another one like called Keen's. I think they're known for like mutton or something, or something.
I might save that one for, I don't know, Edinburgh.
Okay, I had Trevor at mutton. Yeah, he's a big alternate protein aficionado.
I like my Wiener Schnitzel.
He loves seafood.
Oh, that yeah. But when we go, I want to use my, I have my, I think my Built Platinum status, and I have my free or discounted, Blade transfer.
Oh,
so
that is something to look forward to. That is something, and maybe the Built Cafe will be open. And...
Yeah, we could go to the Built Cafe, then we could go take the Built, the Built, subsidized, I just lost it. Blade, built-in Blade. My gosh, you could go a little alliterative, and then we could do some lounge hopping. We could fly home on Delta.
I'd love to go to the new Waldorf Astoria that's been renovated. That might be another certificate option. Although I have a Hilton cert that's expiring.
Jeez. How long do you have on that one?
I don't know. I think I got a month on that one too. I literally have, it's been like, 1 month out. Every month there's been a hotel certificate that's been expiring lately. And I've been rushing to take care of it. And
that's a different kind of spring cleaning.
I know.
I'll tell you.
I know. But you know what? Sometimes you can make, lemonade out of lemons, right? I felt pretty good about this trip. It reminded me why I like going to New York, and even with all the trials and tribulations of like having a late bus and spending hours, on a vibrating, box on wheels. It was
back and forth.
Yeah, it was a good, it was a good trip. I'm glad I got to utilize the hotel stay was great. 4 p.m. checkout given, $0 folio at the end. Really can't beat it. Maybe inspire some of you guys to do a quick little getaway, somewhere.
Yeah. I definitely wonder whether our listeners, are more interested now of going to, the first city or the second city now, or a completely different city altogether. So, definitely, I think there's a way to comment on whether it's YouTube, Spotify, in Slack, if you're a Mileonomics member, Patreon member. We'd love to hear your your experiences trying to use a last-minute cert before it expires.
Well, shall we close it out?
Yeah, I think so. Well, that's the show. Thanks for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed listening.
If you've enjoyed this episode, consider becoming a Milenomics Patreon member and get access to even more in-depth miles, points, and travel content.
Until then, we hope your next story is a last-minute, cert-burning travel story.